What happens when country music royalty goes head-to-head with one of daytime TV's most outspoken hosts? What should have been a friendly sit-down turned into an on-air explosion that left producers scrambling and audiences speechless. Today, we're breaking down the fiery clash between Carrie Underwood and Joy Behar on The View, a moment so intense it forced network executives into damage control mode. The morning began like any other inside ABC studios. Carrie Underwood had arrived for what was billed as a routine promotional stop, a quick chat about her new album, her upcoming tour, and maybe a few lighthearted anecdotes about family life. Carrie, ever polished, ever composed, looked every bit the superstar, gliding onto the set in a navy dress, blonde hair perfectly styled, her megawatt smile lighting up the room. Whoopi Goldberg introduced her warmly, the crowd erupted in applause, and the stage was set for another predictable celebrity interview. At least, that's what everyone thought. Carrie launched into her prepared talking points, discussing growth as an artist and the vulnerability behind her new songs. The audience listened. Sarah lobbed soft questions, but Joy Behar wasn't paying attention. She was waiting, watching, ready to pounce. The shift came suddenly. Speaking of honesty. Joy interrupted, her voice sharper now. Let's talk about some of your public positions. You've been pretty vocal about certain political issues lately. The temperature in the studio dropped. Carrie's smile faltered, but only for a beat. Well, Joy, she answered carefully, I think it's important that everyone has a voice in this country. That's what makes America great. Oh, is that what makes America great? Joy shot back, dripping with sarcasm. Because from where I sit, some of the things you've supported seem to go against everything this show stands for. The room tightened. Sunny shifted uncomfortably. Whoopi glanced at the control booth. Carrie straightened her posture, her media training on full display. I've always supported causes that matter to me and my family, she said calmly. But Joy wasn't letting go. She leaned forward, eyes narrowing. Let's be specific. Your support for conservative candidates. Your stance on reproductive rights. Your comments about traditional family values. Isn't it a little hypocritical coming from someone who built her career on female empowerment? Gasps rippled through the audience. Carrie's jaw tightened, but her voice stayed measured. There's a difference between holding personal beliefs and forcing them on others. I've never claimed to speak for all women. You do speak for women? Joy cut in. Every time you walk on stage in front of thousands. And when you endorse politicians who want to control women's bodies, aren't you speaking for them then? Carrie's eyes didn't flinch. Her tone hardened. I endorse people I believe will make positive changes. Just like you use your platform every single day to push your views. The difference is, I don't attack people who disagree with me. The remark landed. Joy flushed, leaning back in her chair. Attack people. Isn't that a little dramatic? Am I? Carrie asked, her smile finally cracking. Because it feels like I was invited here under false pretenses. I came to talk about my music. Instead, I'm being interrogated about politics. Whoopi tried to diffuse. Ladies, maybe we should. But Joy cut her off, hand raised. I think our audience deserves to know where celebrities stand on important issues. And with that, the interview was no longer about music. It was a battle. Carrie, you can't just show up, promote your album, and pretend your politics don't matter. Joy pressed, her voice sharp. And you can't ambush your guests. Carrie snapped back, her tone rising for the first time. You can't expect someone to defend their entire belief system in 5 minutes. This isn't journalism. Joy, it's a hit job. The control room was chaos. Producers were waving frantically, desperate to cut to commercial. But Joy wasn't stopping. A hit job, she scoffed bitterly. Asking you to explain your public positions is a hit job. Please. Maybe you should stick to singing about pickup trucks and heartbreak if you can't handle real questions. The condescension dripped like poison. Carrie's eyes flashed, her Oklahoma accent thickening as her composure cracked. Did you just tell me to stick to singing about pickup trucks? That's rich. Coming from someone who's built an entire career out of cheap shots and manufactured outrage. Joy's mouth fell open, stunned by the counterattack. Around the table, the co-hosts froze. The studio audience held its breath. Joy tried to recover, her voice low and cutting. You need to check your tone, young lady. This is my show. I'll ask whatever questions I want. Carrie laughed, harsh and unpolished, echoing across the studio. Your show? Last I checked, it's The View, not the Joy Behar. And don't call me young lady. I'm a grown woman who's built a career on talent and hard work. Not by tearing people down every single day. Sarah looked like she wanted to sink into her chair. Sunny was scribbling furiously, no doubt already drafting legal notes. Whoopi kept darting toward the control booth, her expression begging for rescue. Joy leaned forward, her own voice rising now. Hard work. I've spent decades fighting for women's rights while you've been playing dress up and singing pretty songs. Don't lecture me about hard work. Carrie's eyes blazed. Fighting for women's rights. You mean attacking any woman who doesn't think exactly like you? That's not fighting for women. Joy, that's fighting for your own ego. The audience began murmuring, shifting in their seats, sensing this was spiraling into uncharted territory. My ego. Joy suddenly shot to her feet, something she almost never did. You little country bumpkin. You have no idea what you're talking about. I've been fighting battles you couldn't even comprehend while you were still performing at county fairs. That was the breaking point. Carrie rose too, slowly, deliberately, towering in her heels. Her voice dropped low and sharp as steel. Did you just call me a country bumpkin on national television? Let me tell you something, Joy Behar. This country bumpkin has sold more albums than you've had coherent thoughts. Whoopi stood up now too, finally raising her voice. Ladies, please, we need to take this down a notch. But Carrie didn't even glance her way. Her eyes never left Joy. I'm done being polite to someone who clearly has no respect for me, or anyone else who doesn't worship at her altar of liberal orthodoxy. Liberal orthodoxy. Joy's face was crimson. At least I stand for something besides backwards thinking and outdated values. You represent everything wrong with this country. I represent millions of Americans. Carrie fired back instantly, who work hard, love their families, and don't need approval from coastal elites to validate their existence. You represent a dying breed of has-been comedians who think being loud means being right. The director was practically screaming in the control room for a commercial break. But on stage, the showdown only escalated. Has been, Joy barked, her pitch climbing. I've been relevant longer than you've been alive. You're nothing but a manufactured pop star with a twang. And you're nothing but a bitter old woman who can't stand when people disagree with you. Carrie shot back, her words like glass. At least I earned my success through talent, not through controversy and fake outrage. Fake outrage! Joy roared. You want to see real outrage? I'm outraged that ignorant people like you get platforms to spread your backwards ideology to impressionable fans. Carrie's voice dropped to a lethal whisper. Ignorant. I graduated summa cum laude from Northeastern State University. What's your excuse for being this intellectually dishonest? Finally, Sunny cut in, her voice cautious, trembling with tension. Leddies, we really should stay out of this, Sunny. Joy snapped, stabbing a finger in Carrie's direction. This little princess needs to learn that actions have consequences. Carrie stepped forward, fists clenched at her sides. You want to attack me? Fine. But don't you dare disrespect the women at this table just because you're throwing a tantrum. A tantrum. Joy's laugh was shrill, teetering on unhinged. You're the one who came on my show and couldn't handle basic questions about your public positions. Basic questions. Carrie's voice cut like a whip. You ambushed me. You attacked my character, insulted my intelligence, and called me a country bumpkin. If that's your idea of basic joy, then you're even more delusional than I thought. Whoopi tried again, her voice low but firm. We're going to take a quick commercial break. No. Joy snapped, cutting her off, her finger now inches from Carrie's face. She doesn't get to come on here, insult me, and then hide behind a commercial break. If she wants to play with the big girls, she'd better be ready for the consequences. Big girls. Carrie let out a cold, humorless laugh. Joy, the only thing big about you is your mouth. And your ego. You're a small, petty person who tears people down because building yourself up takes actual talent. The studio went silent. Even the cameraman froze, torn between cutting the feed or letting it ride. Joy's face cycled through shades of crimson and violet as she searched for words sharp enough to answer. Finally, her voice cracked out like a whip. Get out. Get out of my studio right now. The Carrie smiled for the first time since the clash began, a smile devoid of warmth, cool as steel, gladly. But let's get one thing straight, this isn't your studio, Joy. You don't own ABC. You don't own this show. And you damn sure don't own me. She turned to the stunned audience, her voice carrying like it had in arenas across America. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize that you had to witness this. You came here expecting a civil conversation about music, and instead you got to see what happens when someone mistakes being controversial for being relevant. The crowd murmured, some nodding, others frozen in discomfort. Behind her, Joy was trembling with rage. Carrie pressed on, steady and resolute. Joy, I came here in good faith. I tried to be respectful. I tried to be professional. But you didn't want conversation. You wanted a target. Well, congratulations. You picked the wrong one. Joy tried to interrupt, but Carrie raised her hand, silencing her. I'm not finished. For years, you've bullied guests, attacked anyone who doesn't share your worldview, and then hid behind the excuse of being a comedian when you get called out. But bullying isn't comedy, Joy, and intolerance isn't progressive. Whoopi stood now exasperated. Carrie, I think we all need to. With all due respect, Whoopi. This needed to be said. Carrie cut in. Someone had to call it out. Everyone else has been too polite. Or too afraid. Joy finally found her voice again, shaking with fury. How dare you come into my house and lecture me about behavior? You're nothing but a right-wing puppet with a pretty voice. Carrie shook her head, her smile bitter and sharp. There it is. Anyone who disagrees with you is a puppet, or stupid, or ignorant. You can't even fathom that intelligent people might think differently than you. Different opinions. Joy's voice cracked as she screamed. Your opinions harm women, harm minorities, harm this entire country. Carrie's laugh was razor thin. My politics. Joy, I've never once used my platform to personally attack someone the way you've just attacked me. I've never called anyone names. I've never tried to humiliate them on national television. But you do that every single day. The control room had stopped trying to cut away. The producers knew they were witnessing television history. Ratings were spiking by the second. This was raw, unscripted chaos, and no one dared look away. Joy, pacing now, threw her hands up, her voice cracking under the strain. You think you're some kind of victim. You support politicians who want to take away women's rights, strip LGBTQ protections, suppress voting rights. That makes you complicit. Carrie's eyes narrowed. Her voice came low, deliberate. And there it is. Carrie nodded slowly as if she had been waiting for exactly this moment. The real Joy Behar. Not the comedian, not the political commentator, but the self-righteous zealot who thinks anyone who doesn't agree with her is evil. You don't want unity, Joy. You don't want understanding. You want submission. I want justice, Joy shrieked, her voice now completely unhinged. No, you want control, Carrie replied coolly. You want everyone to think exactly like you, vote exactly like you, and worship at the altar of your moral superiority. Well, here's another news flash. That's not how America works. Sarah H. finally found the courage to speak up. Maybe we could all just take a step back. Sarah's right. Sunny added quickly. We're all getting a little heated here. Heated. Joy whirled around to face her co-hosts. She came on here and attacked everything we stand for. I defended myself against your attacks, Carrie corrected firmly. There's a difference, though I wouldn't expect you to understand nuance. Nuance. Joy's voice reached a pitch that was almost inhuman. Don't you dare talk to me about nuance. When you support fascists. The word hung in the air like a toxic cloud. Even Joy seemed to realize she had gone too far, but it was too late. Carrie's expression shifted from anger to something much more dangerous. Complete contempt. And there it is, Carrie said quietly, her voice deadly calm. The moment you ran out of actual arguments and decided to call me a fascist. You know what, Joy? I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry that you're so consumed with hatred that you can't see past your own bias. I feel sorry that you've become exactly the kind of person you claim to oppose. Get out! Joy screamed, pointing toward the exit. Security. Get her out of here right now. I'm already leaving, Carrie replied, gathering her purse with dignity intact despite the chaos swirling around her. But before I go, let me say something to your audience. You deserve better than this. You deserve hosts who can have conversations without resorting to name, calling, and personal attacks. You deserve better than Joy Behar. The audience erupted. Some applauded, others booed, and the studio descended into complete pandemonium. Security guards appeared from the wings, though they seemed unsure of what exactly to do since Carrie was already leaving voluntarily. Don't ever come back, Joy shouted over the noise. You're banned from the show. Carrie paused at the edge of the stage, turning back one final time. Joy, banning people who disagree with you is exactly the kind of behavior I'd expect from someone like you. Thanks for proving my point. As Carrie walked off the stage with her head held high, Joy collapsed back into her chair, her face still flushed with rage. Whoopi was frantically trying to restore order. Sarah looked like she was about to cry, and Sunny was already on her phone, probably calling lawyers. The cameras kept rolling as chaos reigned supreme in the studio. Audience members were still arguing among themselves, some defending Joy, while others praised Carrie for standing up to what they saw as bullying behavior. The show's producers knew they had a decision to make, and fast. Within hours, clips of the confrontation were trending across every social media platform. The phrase, country bumpkin, became a rallying cry for Carrie's fans, while Joy's supporters defended her right to ask tough questions. But behind the scenes, ABC executives were holding emergency meetings about what to do with their most volatile host. The unprecedented clash between country music royalty and daytime television's most outspoken voice had created a moment that would be analyzed, debated, and remembered for years to come. It was the day polite celebrity interviews died. An unfiltered television drama was born. What did you think of this explosive confrontation between Carrie Underwood and Joy Behar? Do you think Joy went too far with her questioning? Or was Carrie being too sensitive? Drop a comment below and let me know who you think won this battle.